Yes, all summer long. I live at Brooks' house and come in through the back way, and right across from Sun-Dried Tomatoes, under the stairs that go up Brooks' house building, there was zucchini flowers, and I kept watching them. I didn't touch them, and then there were like 3 or 4 zucchini about this big, very big, and so I asked the restaurant owners, are these yours? And they said no, so I picked 2 and gave one to my daughter, and I made our bread. Harmony parking lot maple zucchini bread.
I'm Andrea Livermore. I'm the Executive Director of Building a Better Brattleboro. And all I'm doing today is welcoming everybody and letting people know how appreciative we certainly are of your efforts and your interest in coming down and talking more about the Harmony Neighborhood Association and Harmony Lot, and how do we sort of join together and make it great and healthy and constructive and all those things that we're looking for. This morning we've asked, and he's graciously agreed to facilitate the discussion, Jeff Lewis. Jeff is someone who, he's on the BAB board, he's the director of Brattleboro Development Credit Corporation, and he's just a great facilitator. So I think you'll appreciate his skill and his ability to run a meeting.
The purpose of this meeting, as I understand it, is to be the second meeting of a public meeting of people concerned about and interested in the health and safety of Harmony parking lot. So what we're going to do today is sort of take a picture of where we are, because we've made some real progress has been made since last time, I understand. We'll hear some reports on that in terms of actual developments on the ground. We'll talk a little bit about what, if any, future organization needs to be structured, how that's going to be done, what kind of committees need to participate in that, what people are interested. So that's really it. Fairly simple process. We're just kind of taking a status check. I think the news is decent, so that's a good thing. Any comments or questions about that? And my thanks to Bob Viennes, who generated all the material, has done the website, has just contributed an enormous amount of energy to Harmony parking lot in the past 6 weeks to try and bring it from where it was to here. So that's a great credit to Bob, and we'll be hearing from him. But there is an agenda here of folk who have done things, so we probably ought to hear from them. The first, and I think one of the most important, is Gene Rinn, acting police chief, to talk about his perception, what he's done, and what he thinks he sees there. Dr. Rinn.
Gene Rinn. What I can just tell you is that listening to the officers on the street, people I've talked to in the businesses, and walking around downtown, just seeing what I see, it seems a lot of the problems seem to have cleared up. Maybe it's due to the weather. Maybe it's due that there was we put extra police presence out there, patrols out there. Businesses have got involved and actually had a presence out there. But for right now, seems things seem to be going good. We're just still constantly looking for feedback. If you guys hear anything, see anything, give us a call. Don't sit back and complain about it later on. Give us a call. Let us get involved right up front when it's happening. That's the best thing we can do for right now.
Do you mind, I have to get back, but I'd like to give my report following him just
Sure.
because it, okay.
Pat,
All right, I'm Pat DeFelice, and I'm the co-chair for the Police and Town Committee, and there's Tarek's on the committee and a few others here. We see a great difference, and I have to say that from the beginning, Barbara co-chairs this with me, and Audrey's on the committee now, and every time we came up with an idea and we went to the police department and to Gene and to Barbara with a question or a concern, they immediately stepped to the plate to help. And when I say, you know, I'm kind of new to this area and I walked into this little maelstrom of what's going on with the police department, they have done an outstanding job for us. And I'm the one that leaves my place at 12:31 in the evening or in the morning, and I feel so much safer. I'm not running into rowdy individuals, and while we can say, yes, it's the weather, and we can say that people have moved away, and we can give credit to whatever credit is due, it's really the police department and the people surrounding the police department pushing this forward that have helped us tremendously. And we all know that in the spring something's going to come back crawling into our parking lot, but now we feel we have time to work on it. And I think the committees will move forward. I mean, there's some funding issues about how we get some issues resolved. But overall, I have to say thank you. It's been a terrific start for us. I feel our parking lot is a parking lot again and is a safe place to be. And so I think our committee, I'm real proud of what's happened with it. And while we may not meet much, and this may morph over into an entire, you know, local neighborhood association, that's all well and good, but it's nice to know that, that they've been on our side, and so thanks again.
I think that summary, do people agree?
Absolutely.
I do.
Yeah?
Yeah, I feel safer.
Other people? I mean, I think that's the strongest statement we got. Gene's given a summary from his perspective, which is the official and professional one, but Pat's is the street level view, and it sounds like something's actually happened. You know, for whatever reason and by whatever means, good things have occurred. So that's the good news. Now, the question that Pat kind of left on the table is, well, it's not fixed. It's just better. So how do we anticipate that? So that requires, I suspect, some other stuff, keeping it clean, building a little social structure around that. I don't know about the status of an organization. Maybe that needs to be built. So why don't I turn this to Bob Bienz, who has some data from Steve Barrett, who's done some work in he's the Public Works Director, done some work in the cleanliness, picking up that sort of stuff to make it look better.
Thank you. Included in your packets is a question and answer with Steve Barrett from the Public Works Department. I've been communicating with Steve about some of the issues of the downtown in terms of cleanliness and maintenance. And it's just I've got 6 questions here that I'd like to go over with you. And I asked him about one of the problems that we had over the summer was that the street sweeper was out of order. So there was a long period of time where the streets just simply weren't getting swept. The Harmony lot, you know, in particular, gets a large collection of cigarette butts, and so you just need the street sweeper out there. Picking up trash is good, but you got to get the dirt up and the cigarette butts. But anyways, that's been repaired, and Steve's response to that was that the street sweeper current schedule on that, and that might be something that we want to look at. The current schedule on that is twice a week on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Obviously, that's going to halt in the wintertime, but or to some extent. But that's what's happening with that. There are currently a couple of individuals who are cleaning going around the downtown area, the Harmony as well, and cleaning up trash. There's a lot of people that are there. There are several people who actually live down there who aren't getting paid by anybody who are also doing it. You know, and it's something that we're trying to encourage. If you see some trash in the lot, you see someone left a bottle, or you see a pack of cigarettes that's been discarded, it would be great if we just would get the mindset that we just don't walk past it. We just pick it up and drop it in a trash can. Because it makes a big difference. And bottles that get left on the ground sometimes end up getting smashed on the ground. So, you know, that's something I think as a community we should just, this is, you know, trash on the ground is just not okay in Brattleboro. Let's pick it up. Yeah.
I want to seize the moment to let people know that Building a Better Brattleboro, actually, in talking with Steve Barrett some time ago, recognized the need for additional, it was actually temporary summer help to help clean up the downtown. You know, the town, as the budgets have been cut back with, over the years, some of these temporary positions that they used to have that could actually focus on downtown Harmony Lot, just sweeping up, keeping the cleanliness up, had been, those positions had to be dropped. So we were able to pull some money out of our budget from some periods of time when we didn't have staffing, and actually route that money to Steve, who hired these two young guys who worked in the summer, and they're continuing into the fall. So I just, using this as a PR moment to say, what they do is they take the new ones, they bring in old ones, they try to refurbish them, and if you start noticing them, they really get beat. So BAB also bought an additional trash can this year for the downtown, and we put it in the Harmony parking lot. Things like just trash receptacles, which seems so fundamental, make a huge difference. People don't want to walk with their cups for very long before they just put them down. So as much as we'd like people to take their trash home, it's important to have enough trash cans. So I'll stop, but...
We have an extra trash can to put in Harmony. Where do you want it? So I gave him what I thought was a good place, and it seems to be getting used. So we do need another one right by the entrance by Sevka, because there's a lot of trash that happens there, and I've talked to Steve about that already. And that's actually, BAB is paid for the last one. I wonder if we could have a conversation about them paying for one more.
We could have a conversation.
Okay. Because we do need one right on that corner. That's a real problem there. There's a lot of kids that sit there on the steps and stuff, so that would be great to have one there. I don't know if you guys have noticed on the website, there's some old photographs of Harmony. I've got a whole bunch more that I want to put up when I get some time. But it's really an interesting part of downtown, and it's gone through a lot of different transformations. And I've got photographs that date back to the end of the last century. Well, I guess 2 centuries ago now. So I asked Steve about what when the last big upgrade in the Harmony lot was, and when we're due for another one. Because as the Harmony Neighborhood Association, I think we should have a contribution, be able to contribute to that dialogue, and maybe come up with some really good ideas. And I've got a few of my own. The last refurb of the lot was done in 1986. They actually widened the center medians there where there used to be parking meters. Those were widened. They put the trees in. That was done in '86, and they've acknowledged that it's definitely in disrepair now. The brickwork is coming up, and it needs to be repaved. There's electrical issues in the lot with in terms of the lot itself, but maintaining the Christmas lights and powering the Christmas lights and all that. So there's a lot of money that's got to be spent there, and there's actually a plan for 2014. They've allocated $200,000 for it, and I haven't really looked into that a whole lot, but that's something that we should, might want to look at. And then also, I just put the last thing there was. I told Steve that I just started recycling recently. I live downtown and there's no public pickup of recycling, and so I just used to throw it all in the dumpster. We got the great Harmony dumpster out in the back there that I was contributing to for a long time, and now I started recycling, and my hallway is almost impassable with clean, rinsed out recycling, and I throw out one bag a week. One Hannaford's bag a week, or food co-op bag, I should say, per week. And anyway, so it's recycling is something that we should encourage, and it's the best way to encourage it is give downtown residents a place to put their recycling. Steve Barrett says we do need to talk about recycling. So he's been very helpful. We've got a good dialogue with Steve, and I thank him very much for sending this information. And you guys all have copies of it. Anyway. So, thank you, Steve. Yes, Lauren.
I'm a long-time downtown resident as well, and I just want to say that I think you and the police department, in a very short period of time, along with the BABB and their presence downtown, have done an amazing job in an extremely short period of time. I'm down there every day. However, there's one area that still bothers me to some extent. Some people may say it's a minor issue, but as we all know, it was only a few years ago that cigarette smoking was suspended in commercial or public buildings. So what has happened, as we all know, is everybody is now smoking outside on the streets and the sidewalks. I still see that as a major issue in terms of the overall appearance of the community, of the cleanliness of the community. When you walk through literally a carpet of cigarette butts on a regular day, that's got to be a turnoff to visitors and the retail vitality of the community. And what I'm wondering is can we also factor in cigarette butts? There's no question that the garbage and the litter, much better. But for example, I know in a lot of other communities that I've been to, these garbage cans, these
Solid gold garbage cans.
yeah, when the solid gold garbage cans, they also incorporate a cigarette butt receptacle. And we don't have anything like that. And I'm wondering if maybe we should be considering doing some kind of a combination type of thing like many other cities or towns do, where they have the garbage on one, you know, it's integrated into the
cigarette butts in the downtown, and you know, obviously that needs to be addressed. The people that are doing the cleaning, the guys that are going around doing the cleaning, is it possible that we could equip them with some kind of, you know, like a vacuum device to go around and pick up the cigarette butts? Is that?
I mean, you can sweep them up, but I think.
Hand it back over to you, Jeff.
Well, see, you're doing a great job. I don't know what I need to do. I think that pretty much, does that finish the report set of the thing? Everybody who needs to talk, talked? What about the committees, Bob? Yeah?
I'm not a good speaker, and I had typed it up to read, and I didn't bring it. But we put together...
Everybody pretend that Deanna's reading from a script and she's doing a great job.
Thank you. We put together a small costume party in Harmony parking lot as part of the activities. I got permission from Jonathan Chase, the owner of Brooks, and R&B Deli to have it right in front of their little entryway. And she was part of it too. She put some things out. And some of my neighbors who aren't part of the committees or anything generously donated cash, and they told me how it should be spent or how the prizes should be. So we had adult and teen. First place was $15 for them. Second place would be a gift certificate to a restaurant, a $10 gift certificate. And then in the child's, the first place winner was a subscription, or not, a gift certificate to Kids Place. And we had quite a few people, more than I thought. And we gave out candy to anybody, dressed or not dressed. And in the candy bags, there were quotes, like fortune cookie quotes, kind of having to deal with harmony and getting along. And then there's some of our pictures. Oh, the best part, to get candy, I had asked the major grocery stores for broken bags. If they had any broken bags of candy, would they, be willing to donate them? The co-op gave me $20, just go spend it, and the other Price Chopper in Hannaford's gave me a $10 gift card, and Hotel Pharmacy donated candy. I know I'm forgetting something up there. Yes, what am I forgetting?
I think it was a great time we got to speak with the young people. There was a great rapport where they were able to see what we were trying to do. I was shocked at the positive response from them. I thought we might get a little bit of smart aleck or what have you. And there were a lot of young people that said they were afraid in the parking lot, that they were encountering not wanting to come down at certain hours, and that they were very glad to see our presence. So it went well, in my opinion.
We also, I had forgotten this, we had a poetry reading contest, and I went through the generations, and I would read, actually it was song lyrics, but I would read, and whoever could guess that particular author of that song won a $2 bill. I found some $2 bills. What amazed me, I had only one poem from the 50s that was a real poem, and this one young man, I don't think he's out of school, and while he didn't guess the poet, he guessed all of the poets' cohorts, Jack Kerouac, Allen Ginsberg, all of the Beat group. He knew all of them. 3 words into the song, teach your parents, and he named it. You know, and I mean, these young men weren't over 17, I'm pretty sure. But
Can Tim name that song?
Yeah, that's teach your children.
there you go. There you go. But I don't have any money now. But I was just amazed how fast that he did it. But it was. I feel like it was a great big success. And what's even kind of ironic is I feel like I can definitely talk, whereas I felt alienated from the young people. I feel like I can now talk with them. I went to the doctor's yesterday, and some young man I don't even know waved at me. and I don't know who he was, but I waved back. Okay, thank you. And we're going to have more activities. We definitely are. Not just because winter's closing or coming.
I'm just making a comment.
Teach your children.
Yeah. Before being in this job, I was the director of youth services at one time, and then I was the director of United Way, and the whole idea of, how do people communicate and building relationships and what do kids need? I mean, you saying this, it's like touching to me, because I think a lot of what's been happening out there, the anecdotal stories that I've heard, and actually some of them are from Bob, that as people, we get really isolated and we don't talk to one another. And, you see someone and they're scary or they look different than we do, and, everybody's like, but just sort of, pushing past that and having the party and inviting kids and being surprised at, wow, they're like, sticking to us like glue and wanting to participate, or, some of the scarier looking people, and there are scary people. There's, I've been making a point to walk through and realize that I feel like I'm very sort of, a real advocate for youth, and I found myself feeling a little uncomfortable a couple times and thought, what's that about? But the whole idea of, people talking to people makes such a huge difference, and I think that positive energy and just that thread is really going to help. I mean, not to say that the police aren't needed, they are, but this other piece is just, it's really heartening and it's nice. So that was what I wanted to say.
Plug for the website, it's on the agenda under accomplishments, the way that this association works effectively is through communication. That's the purpose of the website. It's maintained every day, and it's also a completely open forum. If you want to have something on that website, if you have an idea, if you have an opinion, if you would like to see a change in the format, if you would like to contribute a photograph, this should be a totally collaborative effort. I'm certainly doing all the work on it just because I started it and I've got the ball rolling, but anybody that wants to contribute to this, I invite you to do that. And also, there's email contact information on the front, and there's also there's an open blog there that you can post anonymously if you have comments, and I encourage you all to do that. So if there's anything you want to contribute, please, by all means, let me know.
Would there be a possibility of like getting T-shirts or something to identify ourselves? I mean, when I'm out there picking up trash or sweeping up glass, I find people, what are you doing and why are you doing it? So, I stop to explain. I don't know if that'd be over the top or something to just identify what we're doing.
I'm gonna skip ahead just a little bit here, and this is to address Lauren's comments about the cigarette butts. Yep. And Marcy's question here. The way that I would like to see this association run is not with a bunch of standing committees with vague titles like Dialogue with Youth. I'd rather have someone say, hey, I'd like to organize a bunch of people to go in and talk to the kids that are standing in the lot twice a week, and have that be a project. So Marcy, if you've got an idea about having a group of people that have T-shirts that say Harmony Neighborhood Association, or a picture of a bunch of trash that says it's not okay, which I have on the website, we can look into that. But you basically coming up with that question, and Lauren coming up with the question about the cigarette butts. If somebody wants to do something, you say, I would like to start a project and address the problem of the cigarette butts. and then we have a discussion about, is this a good thing for us to work on? And then we just say, who wants to participate in this? And 5 of you say, we do. You all get up, go over there, sit down at the table, and you fill out a form. It's in your packets here. You fill out a committee form, a project committee form with your names, and you guys work out a schedule. You decide how many times you want to meet, when you're going to meet. It's all nailed down. And you either decide if it's an action committee where you're just going to go and get something done, like Deanna wants to plant flowers in the flower pot, certain area. She wants to put wildflowers. That's a good thing. Go do it. Or it's an exploratory committee where we're just going to do a little research and report back to the committee. It's a real simple way for you to get your T-shirts, and for Lauren, you to have the cigarette butts cleaned up. So I've jumped ahead. I totally went off the agenda.
Moving forward is what's the appropriate form, and I think I'm not prepared or competent to make a judgment about that, so I'll leave that to Bob. But I think the first thing to say is stuff happened. Exactly, Pat's comments. Stuff happened. People came together. Stuff happened. The Harmony lot is far better than it was. Some folks have made themselves known to one another about their concern and have begun to take various kinds of individual action. Hopefully, out of that, not only will continue, the police attention will continue, the public works attention will continue, but some organization will emerge from this. My suggestion at this point is really, for those of you who are interested in continuing to work together, is to move it a little bit out of this public forum, which is good for communication, not so good for action. Identify yourselves to Bob and to Andrea, because BABB is frankly present. It's down here, they got staff, they have budget, they own this building, and they can help provide some body to a group that's focused on Harmony parking lot. So I really think that's the next step that needs to go on. The question right now is, are there other comments, statements, or things that people want to make? Otherwise, I would say Bob and Andrea stand up, hold a list, and people go talk to them. There's coffee and stuff to eat over there, so stay long enough for that to be finished.
I was wondering, are we voting?
I'm speaking for myself now, but I see no reason to vote on anything right now.
Do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're interested in working with, see what happens.
Are you abandoning the previous structure of organization like it was?
I wouldn't say so. So I'm not sure what it was. I was at the last meeting, but I have not know how to do something, because there's a bunch of interested players here, including other parts of the town besides the police department. So it's kind of like, I think we actually accomplished what we needed to today, which is to say in public, things are better, a bunch of good folk emerged to do some things. We have a little thing in our office, we say, let's celebrate small victories. And this is one that we ought to say, this was a victory, it's done, for now.
If you want to continue working on a project to address policing issues, you should be allowed to work on a project to address policing issues. When we had the first Open Town Forum, there was a ton of people came because there was a big emergency in the Harmony lot, and that's died down, and that's why we have a smaller number here today. If you recall from that meeting, at the very end of it, when everything started to get out of control and everybody wanted to participate and people weren't done talking, but we had a schedule and we had to stick to it because people had to get back to work, magically appeared 5 committees on the wall. We didn't decide, nobody decided on where those committees were, what we were going to talk about, and all I want to do is have the conversation that we should have had at the beginning. We were handed 5 committees by the town. They said, this is what you're going to work on, and maybe we want to work on that. Maybe those are the correct committees, and that's perfectly fine. It's just that I think we should decide. I think we as residents and business owners should decide on what we want this to be, and not be stuck with a committee structure which has already proven itself to be problematic. 2 of the committees ended up being duplications of each other. We combined those. One of the committees, the Activities Committee, never got off the ground. Deanna is our Activities Committee. She did a great job. My hat's off to you for that.
The committee I was on actually ended up being re-elected, even though it was a duplicate, it got its job done, and I think that should remain intact.
I don't want to interfere with that. Absolutely not.
But I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
You should maybe build on what was there before, or reduce some of the committees, whatever, you know.
If we decide that that's what we want to do, and this is all of us participating and having the conversation, I don't want to work with an ineffective model for the association. If we decide, we should decide what it is. We shouldn't have to be stuck with something that just doesn't work. Let's do this the best we can. Terry.
Well, first I want to commend Bob on his website. Any of you that are on the internet should go to the website to keep yourself updated, because there's a lot of information there. You're right, the committee, like the Clark Canal Street Association, they take care of their own area. And you that are business owners, you that are people who live around the Harmony parking lot, even though it's a public parking lot, should have the main thrust of what goes on there and what your association is and how it forms and how it moves forward. But you still should look to the town for any kind of, like what Steve Barrett, any kind of support resources. Maybe some of those committees can stay vibrant and, you know, resources, grants, support for the things that you want to do down there. The town wide, as we first met last time, can be a great resource to you as an association like they have with the Canal Street, Clark Street Association.
Absolutely. Well,
I'd like to see a...
well, I happens down there, it impacts the entire county, if you ask me.
I agree.
Oh, sure.
with you. It's the hub.
Yeah.
It's
It is,
So
it's
when
the
the
central
county is
hub.
affected by whatever happens down there, so, yeah.
Okay, so I've got.
Do we already have a cleanup committee? I heard you mention Lauren, the Butts. Is there I'm a little new on this.
There was, one of the original committees was named Beautification, Trash Cleanup, and Recycling. Certainly important issues. The other issue with having these larger standing committees is that if Deanna wants to work on all she cares about is putting wildflowers on the hillside, she should be able to just have a project to put wildflowers on the hillside. She shouldn't be required to participate in a larger committee that's dealing with cigarette butts. You know, she should be able to do that. That should be a project that we can start. This gets things done. So in terms of the beautification,
Okay.
there's
I just don't want to duplicate. If we've already got a committee going there for the trash cleanup of the parking lot.
If Marcy wants to organize some kind of cleanup,
Yes.
she can say, anybody want to help me? Or does anybody want to join this? And then we'll do that one project. Or I would like to plant bulbs, and I will get permission. And if I say, hey, anybody want to help me plant bulbs? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Let me give you 3 tangible examples. The first project committee that I would like to suggest is to address the question of association structure. Who are we? How do we operate? What are the rules? Voting, membership. We should sit down and talk about this and decide how we operate. I think that's something I would like to start today, and I'd like to have some people who are interested in participating on that with me. So that's the first one, a project for organization structure. The second one that we also need to address today, because we've been invited by Building a Better Brattleboro to have a hand in the holiday decorations in the Harmony lot. So I'd like to also start a project for holiday decorations. I'd like to list of volunteers that are people that are willing to work on that and meet and actually take action and get things done by Christmas. By yesterday, yeah. But that's something that Andrea came to me, was it yesterday or the day before, and said, hey, because I said on the holiday decorations.
Deanna.
Okay.
Do I write it up or?
Well, let me give you one of these. What I had thought of, and this is something that we talk about. I don't know that this is the best way to do it, but what I was thinking is that I was thinking we were going to get a larger turnout today. I didn't know if it was going to be 20 people or if it was going to be 80 people. I was thinking it was going to be 20 because the emergency level has dropped down. People feel like something's being done, so they're less worried about it. But so what my original vision was that Deanna and who else? Oh, Bob would actually, and Bob and whoever else volunteered would go over there and sit down and work out a schedule and decide today, right now, when you're going to meet.
Two things are going on. The first is that we had the public meeting that needs to be held. Information's been shared. People know the status of the Harmony lot. You've heard some good reports. What Bob is suggesting now is what's the continuity? How do we go on from here? My suggestion for that is because not all of you want to participate in that. Some of you really are very interested. So as not to frustrate everyone, I would suggest that we change the nature of the meeting at this point. So those of you who are interested in getting further involved, beginning to talk about what the structure of an organization is, what kinds of projects you might like to work on, gather up in that corner. The rest of you can finish the coffee. Because I think that's where we are. I think not everyone wants to continue. If you do, that's great. And everybody goes up there and we got horsepower. But I think you've probably got a half a dozen.
I'm okay with that approach. I also want to be careful that everybody here gets an opportunity to say exactly what you're thinking. I don't want this to be driven by any individuals. It's important that you all, if you have something to say, I want to hear about it, and figure out if you think this is the right direction or if you want to do something different. Let's decide that. Let's talk about it and have the conversation. I'm all about conversations. So, does anybody have anything they want to contribute? Or any questions?
Final statements that need to be made?
I'm wondering, I think the idea of, like what Deanna was saying, of, okay, we want to get together and I'll say plant bulbs because we're not planting, well, plant bulbs, I won't say when we do it. But anyway, that a group would get together and do that. I think that's really good for keeping momentum because people get to go out, they do something they think will be really fun, let's do it the next 2 Sundays and it's done. I'm not sure whether it's, I actually have some ideas about the t-shirts or whatever it is, and I would love for Bab to be involved in that. It's like, how do we say, okay, here's some projects that people want to be involved in immediately, and then say, okay, the planting, we might want to meet now, but we're really going to do that in the spring. The cleanup, we might need to do that immediately, and I get overstimulated and say, but I want to be in 3 of these groups to at least have the initial conversation. So how do we schedule them, keep them really task-oriented so we don't lose people and maybe we even gain people, which would be really nice.
Those of you who are interested in doing those things, focus your energy and go do that. So that's why some folk here we're here for information, catch the status, make a comment, and then move on. And that's great because it lent a lot of energy to the morning. But now some of you need to take that on. So that's what I would suggest happens.
The principal concern that I have, that I'm going to be over there sitting and wanting to talk to a few folks about, is the project to decide association structure and membership and voting, all that kind of stuff. It's very important that we get that done. So that's my concern. Deanna's very interested in the holiday decorations. I know that you're going to want to do that. Marcy, yeah, and so that's what we're going to go and do.
Bob,
are
there any other comments? Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, we now have 3 members in the Holiday Decoration Committee. Right. So if there's anybody else who wants to add themselves to this list. And I guess I just wanted to say one comment, that I think the notion that the committee, at least these committees, kind of grow organically from a project is very good. And then maybe like working that out, if we get together and meet about holiday decorations and we say, well, that's a big job in and of itself. That may take up all our time. But it may be that, hey, we can do that, but the ground hasn't frozen yet, and we've got some bulbs, and we can do that. Then, we could have a dialogue about, hey, can we expand that mission a little bit of that committee, and we'll do decorations and bulbs.
Yeah.
But I think that notion that things kind of grow organically is very good. And, and anybody else want to sign up?
The other thing.